Hey everybody, it's Kneecap here, and in this video, this will be the second part of my series of making WoW fun again. And in this video, we're going to be talking about legendaries. So right now, well, in Legion, everyone kind of hated the legendary system as it was, until you got every single one or every single one that you wanted for your DPS and everything. Then people kind of settled down with it, but because it was RNG to get them in the first place, there was a huge outcry about it. And then also, you never replaced that piece; you always just kept wearing it, except for when they added new legendaries, like they added the rings. Some newer rings, and so you might replace, like if you're wearing shoulders, okay, the ring's better, so I'm going to wear the ring now. But for general purposes, we never really replaced the legendaries. It wasn't a great system. Even I'll say that as a very pro Blizzard pro World of Warcraft person, it was not a great system. But now we have these legendaries just kind of sitting in our bags or in our bank. We can't destroy them, right? So you have to put them somewhere. So I imagine there's people that don't have like bank slots or something that are just like they're sitting in their bags or something. So now, ideally, they probably will make these destroyable at some point, perhaps. But instead of doing that, I had a better idea. Just go ahead and indoctrinate them into the heirloom page on our collection tab, right? So every legendary that you have will now be turned into an heirloom. Now, what does this mean? This is just making WoW fun. This is not about making it fair or anything like that. So now, in my opinion, what you should do, instead of worrying about these things scaling, what you do is you can wear a legendary that you have from level, let's say level 20, right? So that's when all the allied races start. When you hit level 20, you can now wear a legendary. This is going to give you a ridiculous amount of stamina, a ridiculous amount of health, and a good amount of damage. Now, hopefully not a ridiculous amount. So what will have to happen is, I haven't looked at all legendaries. I know most of them will have to be changed, but any legendaries that do an exact amount of damage and that damage is extremely high, you don't want anyone just like completely nuking the world and pulling like everything in the entire zone at level 20. But so you'll have to change it to a percentage based damage output based upon your stats or whatever for things that do direct damage. But other than that, so you'll get all the benefits of the legendary. So obviously, like if the legendary is benefiting a spell that you haven't learned yet, then you don't want to choose that one, even if it's a really good one. You'll still learn the spell at the same time, and you will still everything else will be the same. You'll just be able to wear these legendaries, and this will be really cool to me because first of all, it rewards people for playing Legion. So now, if you want to go and farm Legion stuff, let's say you didn't play Legion for whatever reason, even though it was a pretty good expansion. Let's say you didn't play Legion. You can go farm Legion stuff to get these legendaries for your alts if you want. It's just like farming heirloom gear. It's complete choice. You don't have to do it. You can still just get the regular heirloom gear, or you can go ahead and farm out one of these legendaries. The other thing is, if you have all the heirloom gear, you're going to want to keep the experience bonus. So you're only going to want to wear certain legendaries, like a ring and or whatever. And the current rules is that you can wear two. I would probably change it to one because otherwise your health and stuff's going to be too ridiculous. And I would have them not work in PvP settings. So, like if you queue for a random battleground, these aren't going to be the things for you to use. I wouldn't have them give you anything, basically. No stats, no on-use thing. And they're pretty much useless to use in a PvP setting. Now, World PvP, it's all off. Again, you'll have to look at the effects on every single legendary to do this, to make sure that you're not just one-shotting anybody, because that's not fair. But it would just be a really cool way to keep them. They seem like they really want to keep them because they don't want to be forgotten. They're very nostalgic, and I respect that because that's kind of how I am too. It's something that I worked on a ton and implemented into whatever field I was working in. I wouldn't want that to be completely just thrown away when something new comes along. So I completely understand that thinking. And here's a way to keep them. You put them into, like I said, you put them into the journal. So the items don't have to physically exist anymore. They could even turn in the same color as the heirloom, like the light blue. And now you can use them when you're leveling up. It'll make leveling even faster than it already is because you'll be even more powerful. And that's something they're trying to speed up anyways. Now they've also talked about setting back the level cap down back to 60. I'd still think that this would be a good idea and still something to do, frankly, even if they did do that. So that doesn't really dissuade me from this idea. I put a lot of thought into it. I don't think that there are too many negatives to it, other than not everyone having access to it, having to farm Legion content. But I'm kind of viewing that as a positive to get people to go back and do Legion content and experience it and get the legendaries if they're worried about leveling alts at the highest efficiency possible. So yeah, I think that'd be really cool. Again, this is all about making WoW fun, not necessarily fair, not necessarily optimal, but let's make it more fun. Let's level in legendaries, right? So yeah, please subscribe if you find any of my videos helpful or interesting. And other than that, everybody have a good one.